Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sean and this is the I'm So Annoyed book tag. So let's get into it, beginning with question number 1. Do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example. I was going to say on the back of books when it does not have the actual summary of the book, when it just has like reviews of the book. But I decided what I actually find more annoying is when books, like the description of the book, uses an adjective, I guess, to describe the book itself. And what I mean by that is like the description reads like, this stunning thriller by so-and-so, this spellbinding adventure, this fascinating read, this page turner, this splendidly written novel. I just hate descriptions like that in books. I think that is up to readers to decide. And by the way, you will probably hear the birds a lot in this video because I am currently bird sitting, so I am borrowing my dad's parakeet, mild parakeet, Drizzle. So I have both birds in the cages, Nibbler and Drizzle, and they both want to see each other and they don't like being covered up. And I have them covered because of the light. I don't want them like the light blinding in their eyes. So you'll probably hear the birds a lot in this video. I apologize. Question 2. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you there's a great twist? I won't say which book it is, but I opened up a certain book and I read like the introduction, which I usually wouldn't do, but it was just like the first page. So I thought, oh, this is the novel. Okay, I'll begin reading. But it was the introduction. And the first sentence of the introduction was something like, at the end of this book, the main character commits suicide. And I was just like, why the would you tell that? That is a major spoiler. Why did this person do this in the introduction? It just made me so mad. It wasn't even written in the context of like content warning or trigger warning. This book has a suicide in it. No, it was written at the end of this book, the protagonist kills themselves. And oh, it just made me so mad. It spoiled the entire book. So why did they do that? Why did they allow that? Why did they allow that in the introduction? It just pissed me off so much. I still have not read that book just because of that spoiler. Worst spoiler ever for an introduction to a book. Just telling what happens in the end. Urgh. Anyway, question 3. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. I have never used a little free library, and I don't know anything from like used bookstores that I found annoying, but I did check out a book from the library once, and I discovered the first page had a dog ear. So I just don't get why someone would do that. Why would you dog ear the first page of a book? Like, you need a reminder that, oh, what page was I on this book? Oh, page 1. How do you need to dog ear a book because you haven't even begun the book yet? That just drove me crazy. Why would someone dog ear the very first page of a book? Someone dog eared the first page of a library book. Urgh. There are some sick people on this earth. Anyway, question 4. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? I would say yes, because I think short story collections are just real kind of tiresome to read. I don't much like short stories. So like, for instance, you have these collected stories of William Trevor. You have this massive book, like, 1,000 pages, and in the middle of it, what if you just have, a huge chunk of pages for one story? I just think it's so exhausting. If there's any like allure to short stories, it's to be able to like read and get through one real quick in just one sitting. So, you may read a short story, and then all of a sudden you come upon like 130 page story. It just kind of irritates me. Question 5. Deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? I don't really like deckled edges in books because, like, this isn't one, but the thing with the deckled edges is, all the pages are, like, uneven. But if the book is, like, facing in on the bookshelf, you won't see that. So what is the point, really? So I just don't really get it. I don't really like it. I did hear another booktuber talking about how she puts the Deckled pages actually like facing out, which is kind of cool. But anyway, I just don't even know how many books I have with Deckled edges. Probably only a very few. It's just not a thing for me. I just don't really like it. And then another thing I don't like is it seems like it makes it more difficult to turn the page, because since the pages are always uneven, it's kind of difficult. Like you have to prod with your fingers to see like, is this the next page or am I skipping a clump of pages? So I don't know, I just don't really like deckled edges. I'm not a fan. Is it an actual turnoff though? Do I dislike deckled edges? No, I'm just not into them. Question 6. Other people's annotations in a used book or library book. Annoyed? Thoughts? First, if you are marking inside a library book, that again is like a death sentence to me, and I oppose the death penalty, but I would support it for that. You do not write in a library book. It is not yours. Protect it. Cherish it. As to people like marking inside books, I don't really like it, especially like secondhand. I don't like coming across a book and finding that someone's written in it, because a lot of times what happens to me is I'm trying to read this book and then I have these other person's thoughts just randomly scribbled in the book, and like passages are circled and little questions are written or little observations, where the person writing all this is like commenting on the book. And I just don't like it because I'm trying to get immersed in this book. And so when I see these other people's comments, these other people's writings in the book, it just takes me out of that. It doesn't let me get immersed in the book. So I don't like it. And also I think a lot of the things like people circle or highlight or comment on, I'm just like, that's not even a good sentence. Question 7. If there's a series or collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or okay with it? This one doesn't really apply to me because I don't buy many series. I mean, I have like the entire Harry Potter series, but it's not like I really bought that for a collection, really. I just bought it, as I was reading the books and whatever. So, I mean, I don't know, this just isn't a thing for me. I really only buy books just because I want to read them or I want to collect them, like if they have signatures. I don't really buy them because it's like, ooh, I want to have this book because it'll look so pretty on my shelf. That's not something I'm interested in. Question 8. Do the decisions of characters in the novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you find annoying. I really don't like in books when like miscommunication is the main reason for pushing the plot forward. Bird. The main book that I think of is, oh man, I forget the book's name. I think it's like Sweet Little Lies or something like that. I have a signed book by the author somewhere here. I forget who it is though, so I'll just post it up here. Anyway, in this book, I really don't like it because basically the entire plot could have been like averted. The entire like conflict of the book could have been averted if the characters had like a 30-second conversation. It would all be fine. They just need to say, hey, by the way, there's this thing, that you need to know, and it'd all be fine. They'd work it out, no problem. They just need to have a 30-second conversation. So I don't like things like that. I don't like basically any kind of miscommunication in books where it's like characters think the other person hates them, but the other person loves them, but that person thinks the other person doesn't like them, so they won't say anything. And so the whole book is just dragged out just because these two won't just frickin' say what they are thinking. It just annoys the crap out of me. I don't like it. Some people may like it because it's like a slow burn thing. Like, oh, I can't wait for for them to finally get over this. And I'm just like, they could get over this in 10 seconds. All they need to do is talk. That just annoys me. That is not like a genuine conflict. That is just an author trying to create conflict by having characters not simply speak to each other. So I don't know. I get that this definitely does happen in real life. There is miscommunication in real life, but I just find it so exhausting in novels when most of the plot is pushed along just because the characters won't have a 10-second conversation. It just annoys me. Question 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? Not like other booktubers, but I don't like, for instance, this other bookstore in another town. They do not like have signed stickers on the spine of books. I don't like that because it's like, how are you supposed to know if a book is signed? Like you're supposed to open it and check. I just find that annoying because I'm not going to be able to open and check every book for a signed book. So I just wish like used bookstores would have signed stickers on the spine of books, and also ideally like on the front cover of books, so that way whether the book is like the spine is facing viewers or if the front is facing viewers, you could see a signed sticker. I think that would just be so helpful, and especially for me because I like signed books, I would like to just be able to look at a shelf and quickly recognize, oh, there's a signed book here. And last of all, we approach question 10. Share something bookish that you find annoying. Okay, I guess for this one, I'll just kind of rant about whatever random things I think of. So like one thing that annoys me is in books, you go to bookstores and it has something like, the book says something like includes a bonus chapter, because I always kind of wonder, like, is that chapter essential to the story? Because if it is, why the hell wasn't it included in the main book? And if the chapter is not necessary to the story, then why do I really need to read it if it's just like a throwaway chapter? Like if this chapter was rightfully deleted because it was just a boring, unnecessary chapter, why would I want to pay more to get this book with this extra useless chapter? Another thing that bothers me is when a book has like includes a letter from the author and you open it up and it's just basically an introduction. So I mean, it's not actually like an actual letter with like an autograph or whatever. It's just basically an introduction. Books have had that for a long while. That's not anything special. Another thing I do not like is like in the books by page, you don't know if it's like the newest book first, like the newest to oldest, or the oldest to newest. That is annoying. So what I do with my books now is I mark down book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on. So that way readers can just open it up and you don't need to figure out, is this oldest to newest or newest to oldest or whatever. You just look and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that's real helpful. I think that is really about it. So I think this will be a pretty short video comparatively. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you again. Bye.